Hey, check this out. This the OG homie Tela. Hey, you can check me out with Desiree, the sexy Desiree, on Move by the Music.
That's right. Welcome to Move by the Music. Today I had the pleasure of sitting down with Southern rap legend Tela James. We're going to be talking about his new single, his history, and some of the other projects he's working on. Tela, it's great having you on today. How are you?
Miss Desiree, it's a pleasure and an honor to be on Move by the Music. I've been looking forward to this. This is, excellent. How are you feeling over there?
I'm feeling good. I'm glad to be talking to you. And I mean, we all recognize that you are a lyrical genius. You've got crazy flow. And you grew up in Memphis, and you were listening to great artists like Al Green and Marvin Gaye. So how did, let's call it, the art of rap come to you?
Well, let's just say music. I think if you break me open, it'll, spill out. So this was before, rap, just the frequency and the vibration of sound, I mean, as long as I can remember, it's been, embedded in me. It's in my coding, so it's just a music thing. So that's where it really started for me. Let's see who I fell in love with first. Oh my goodness, I can start here. I can start at how the Jacksons and the whole Motown era.
Yeah.
It really it was a big effect on me. And like you say, coming out of Memphis, we had Stax Records. So Stax was this is where I got the opportunity to hear records like Al Green, Isaac Hayes, the Bar-Kays, all of those, because a lot of those artists were based out of Memphis, and my grandfather being B.B. King's road manager. So I was introduced to blues and jazz early on as well. And those things just kind of formulated into what we call rap, hip-hop, that whole thing, because I wanted to be I had this desire to be in a group, right? And I was like, I think this came to me when I was about eight or nine. And I wanted to play the percussion. I wanted to play the drums in a band. And so, that went on for a while. And let's see, along the lines of when crack came into the city and the mid 80s, I should say, it kind of, tore up the infrastructure. So it was kind of difficult to assemble guys together with, instruments to, have this whole band thing. And, hip-hop, rap came through Memphis a little later, of course, got it originating on the East Coast. Being from Memphis, we got it, later on. However, I was interested in it, and what really drew me to it is because I could do it without a company of others. So I could get a turntable, I could get some instrumentals, and I could write these lyrics on my own and, pretty much record myself on a little 2-track or 4-track, and there it is. I didn't need the whole band. So that made me fall in love with hip-hop, with rap. I could control it, regardless of what the environment was. I could make this in the backyard. I could make it on the street. In other words, I could get, pots together or bang on the door to get that beat going,
right.
And here come the flow right there. So,
yeah.
The accessibility of it, drew me to it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love that story and how you, started out because, those people like Al Green and Marvin Gaye and Isley Brothers, all those were, they laid the foundation for a lot of different people and different types of music. And you definitely had a good thing going with those people as some of your role models growing up. And tell me a little bit about your grandfather. He was the manager for B.B. King.
Right. He was the manager, B.B. King's road manager. And he was his bass player. He was his bass player as well. Well, he was always a hustler. This is a guy that had his own paper route at 5 years old. And I would, he would tell me how he would pretty much earn 15 cents, and he would give a dime of that, over a course of a week. And he would give a dime of that to his mother, and he would hold on to a nickel, and that would get him, his lunch and things of this nature. So he was always that kind of, people guy. He wasn't a real great bass player, but he knew how to pretty much gather people together. So, he picked up the bass in order because he understood BB needed a bass player. So he picked his bass up, and began to, play around with the bass. He had his eye on the management position all along. And BB had a manager, but he didn't have a bass player. So this is how he leveraged to get next to BB. And so from there, and he's like, well, you're not that great of a bass player, but we see your management skills, and my manager just left, and here you go. So
perfect.
They did real well, and at that time, we felt like blues was going to be one of those things like how they felt about rap, right? And so when my grandfather, he became successful, and he bought up about 6 gas stations. So this is like in the 50s. So you're talking about a black man out the South with 6 gas stations. He's like, hey, I've hit the jackpot here, and I don't see blues being a big deal. They were operating down south on the Chitlin circuit.
Right.
So he left BB. He didn't get fired. He left BB and to run his gas stations, and the rest is history. BB went on to be the godfather of blues, and blues is here to this day live, and my grandfather, basically being a good guy, loaned out so much gas that he had to close down the station.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of, but his thing about music, it was always around him. So I got a chance to get drenched with that, And
I imagine so.
Yeah, so that he put a lot into that, I'm sure that had an effect on me.
Oh yeah, especially as a child, growing up and seeing that and hearing the music and watching your grandfather do what he was doing too. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. But I'm like, goodness, you took a break for a while, but man, you have been busy lately. Tell us about what you've been up to aside from just releasing your hot new single, Celebrate.
So it was one of the things I really, I have not taken, I've music still, you always do music. I think if you're a star, you're going to do it, even if you're not seen, in front of your fans, and I will, I will go on to say that's not a good idea to go on a hiatus, if that's what you want to call it. But I would say stay active with your fans. But for me, it was just one of those things where like I could be a perfectionist about it, and if I don't have certain, if I wasn't able to get the sound across that I was looking for, I kind of like, you know what? Hey, we just cut. I'm not putting out any albums. I'm not putting out any records right now. And then too, the business structure is, it after the deal that I did with E1, it's like the business structure changed a lot. So I found myself kind of not deliberately, but slowly fading from the scene. But I was still, doing records. So I have an overload of records, an overload of music, and it just got to the point where now it's like, you know what? Hey, let's shoot our shot. Let's shoot the shot. The fans, my supporters, my day ones, they've been asking for music. So it's like I can still do it. I can do it. Let's do it. Let's go.
Right, of course,
So that led up to, let's do Celebrate. Let's throw this out, test the waters. Let's do a record that bring some light to it. This record is produced by Blac Elvis, and the vibe of it is just, celebrate life. So for me, the record is structured around a woman. It's like, the beauty that she brings and gives. And I look at life as a woman. So when you hear it, and I said, well, this is a record celebrating life. He's like, but you talking about this, this chick with long legs and wearing red bottoms, and, you can show her something that she ain't never seen. Yeah, I'm talking about life. But, to me as well as woman, I think it was just so important to not only celebrate life, but woman, which once again, to me, it's one. Not to sound, complicated about, but it really is.
No, I get what you're saying. I mean, think about it. When you think about it this way, where do we all come from? We come from a woman.
Absolutely.
So, life is a celebration of motherhood, Mother Earth, being a mother, celebrating that. So I can see where you're going with that.
And the crazy part of it, too, because a woman is crazy and life is crazy, but it's a beautiful crazy. So, life is a woman. You know life is a woman, because one day you can be outside all in one day, and it can be sunshine, and then it can rain, and then you might, if you find yourself in that right area, it can snow too. I've seen that happen all in Memphis. Literally, literally. It was sunny, then it rained, and then it started snowing.
Moody like that, right?
We're talking about 70-degree weather. Yeah. So, but think about the miracle in that, and
that's right.
And just the way it moves, and it's still like, deal with it, get through it, you just had your blanket out, but now go get an umbrella. And as a matter of fact, get some snow boots too,
Come prepared, right?
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get.
Right, and it tests you.
Definitely.
You, and it grows you. So,
Definitely.
Celebration of life, celebration of woman, and just feminine energy, period.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's great. It's a hot song, and it's going to do so well. And it's like one of those feel-good songs, it makes you want to get out there and, dance and sing and all that stuff. So I was just thinking, too, looking back, 23 years ago in 1996, your first album, Peace of Mind, on the Suave House label came out. So in your opinion, and just from talking to you right now, too, just thinking about what you're talking about with life and celebrating, how has the rap game changed from the 90s to now? And is there someone in particular that you admire and respect, for their talent that's come out, nowadays?
I don't think the game has changed that much, as far as like, it's still tricky. It's real tricky. You got good people, you got bad people. It's still competitive in that sense. People feel like you got to compete. That's still there.
Yeah. What about the sound?
Okay, from a sound wise, of course, they got different, all these different plugins now and all that. Of course, so sound is going to expand, so even with what you would call back then, they're still using, like, from a trap perspective. If you take trap drums are the same drums that came out of the, from the 808 to the Lin drum, but it has been tuned differently,
Yeah.
So now they stretch the sound, they tighten them, they lower the ends on, make the highs a little bit, brighter. So these are same sound, they just elaborate on them. They push it. They push them, and but one thing that I can say this, that I not, and once again, this is not slighting where music is today and our young peers that put it down, but more people sound alike now than when we were out. Mm-hmm. So you listening to Peace of Mind, couldn't find another album that sound like that. You know, when you got Tela Peace of Mind, you got Tela Peace of Mind.
That's
now,
right. You know who that is.
Yeah. Now, okay, if I get, and this is an easy one, but and I mean it's more than that. But if I went and got, Designer and put on one of Future records, it's like, okay, I don't know which one is which. Well, of course I do. Right. You feel, you know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying, though.
Yeah. Even let's move up a bit. Like this kid Blueface. I heard like a few other guys that I can't tell the difference from him. They rapping is off beat. Right. And they got this same, the same pattern, this same cadence. And that's a lot too, the same cadence. Everybody's using that cadence. Even I have had to play with that cadence because of the fact that it's like, if I don't speak to you like that, I don't know if you will understand it, because it's, some of, and you can't, it's like if you've been feeding a person Mac, a Big Mac, they eat McDonald's all the time, and then you try to give them a well-balanced meal, they'll actually get sick.
Yeah, what is this?
Yeah, their system couldn't take it. So you got to kind of, implement it, So I've had to use that cadence here and there. But yeah, that's the difference. That's what I catch first. Like we were, if you got a Ballin G record, you knew that was A Ball MJG. If you got an Outkast album, if you got, only people that sounded similar to me back when coming up was Slick Rick and Dana Day. And I think Snoop even said that. That was about it. But Snoop sounded like Snoop. Cube sounded like Cube. Let's go past, Pop sound like Tupac. Everybody was their own, their own, their brand. They were their own sound.
Right. And a lot, like you were saying, today, this day and age, there's a lot of people, who, not to take anything away from them, like you were saying, but they sound the same, the lyrics even, the beats, a lot of different things. So if I were to say anything, I would say back in the 90s, there was a lot of originality, while nowadays, that tends to, be kind of few and far between sometimes. Not with everybody, but I do hear that a lot, like you were saying.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
So, yeah. And even back in 1998, right? 1998, you had teamed up with Scarface, Too Short, Devin the Dude to do Sex Faces. And I want to know, I'm just interested, how did that collaboration even come about? And you guys still talk?
Well, we talk, and I ain't gonna, I definitely keep my language clean. But I'm not gonna blow no smoke. I ain't gonna BS you. We don't talk. But in passing, when we see each other out on the road, So if we got a show together, of course, it's like, distant cousins.
Yeah. Okay. I get that.
And that record came about. It was my transition from Suave over to rap a lot, and I think it was Jay Prince request.
Okay. Okay.
Jay, he requested that. He, Jay caught that record. Now that you point that out, Jay caught that because he was like, Face is doing a record, and it's more on your vibe. I want you to go to the studio and get it on.
Okay.
And two, I was in a financial bind, so this was a way he could, pay me some money. Too. Like, you need some bread. You need to go over here and do this record, and and we're
Yeah.
gonna, finish out our deal later on. And just so happened the record took off to be, a smash.
Yeah,
It
awesome.
took that album.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took it on to platinum because I think the Tupac release, the one that they did, it was Face, Pac, and P.
Mm-hmm.
That set it up. I think it hit gold with that, but Sex Faces took it platinum.
Yeah, several months ago, I had a chance to speak with Jay Prince about his book. I was interviewing him about his book, which is incredible. So what was it like working with the Rap A Lot label?
What was it like for me?
Yeah, what was it like for you, thinking back out?
It was strange. And it was strange on the fact of Jay or, my label mates, it was just the time and space I was in. Because how I left Suave to, and went into Rap A Lot. So that part, reflecting
the transition, like between the two, you mean?
Yeah. I remember spending a lot of that time, and today and being so much, evolved. Now I can really, kind of articulate it. It was anxiety.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's this anxiety that I couldn't tend to escape. So it didn't allow me to. I was doing good work over there, but at the same time, it didn't allow me to be the artist that I know I could be. In
an authentic type of way.
Right, in that kind of a situation. And that's the part about it that I regret. That part to where it's like, damn, if I, knew how to get out that space. It was like the frequency that I was on. It had to be something in me that wasn't resolved that attract problem or drama.
That phase in your life,
Right. And so when you like that, you don't really get to smell the roses. You're just kind of there,
Right. You're just along for the ride, kind of.
Yeah. And that was my experience. And as far as like coming out the gate, Jay did. He, they pretty much gave me as many tools as possible to be successful.
Okay.
And that's somebody like, okay, all right, here's, you got access to capital, you got, access to, a team, just, deliver. And we did good records, we recruit, everything that we did over there, I did numbers, but I've never had an album as successful as Peace of Mind over there.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, amazing.
Yeah.
And you did a lot with Pimp C, may he rest in peace, and you collaborated with him, you were friends with him. What do you miss about him the most?
Honesty. Pimp was probably one of the most frank people that I've ran into. He said what was on his mind. Pretty. He didn't. Yeah.
Didn't sugarcoat anything.
No. Yeah. He said what he had to say. he said. That is honesty.
Do you think that sometimes thinking back about that, your friendship, that you guys kind of even each other out a little bit,
Pimp was too. I remember he told me this thing once, and that's another regret too. Sometimes you don't know how long. We all know it ain't number one way out of here, but you don't know the time.
That's
I would have, spent more time with Pimp. I would have, definitely scheduled, and pressed to be, tagging along with him more had I known. But I remember him telling me that this was along lines when Peace of Mind came out, and he was just like, you don't know what's going on right now. He's like, you're gonna look back and you're gonna realize that you didn't take it all in. I didn't know what he was talking about.
Right.
Because during that time, I felt like, too, I'm like, man, I'm out here killing it. My record just went gold. Bun and Pimp, they did great numbers. They would always do like 300, 400,000. But, I'm feeling kind of, I'm beside myself. So I don't think I came off like that. But in my head, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was right. He was right. He was dead on. Years passed by. I was like, oh, now I get it. So he was way ahead of the game. He knew the game. I'm over here thinking I know the game, but he knew the game. He knew the game. And, he was trying, lacing me, showing me things, and the times that we did spend together. And it was, once again, I'm not going to, make like me and Pimp was like, just, the best of friends. But the times that we did share together, we were the best of friends in that moment. And that's a dope situation. So where like, you ain't came up with the person. You ain't really, of course I know Mama, I knew Mama, all of those type of things. But you feel it ain't like, okay, I'm at the cookouts like that. But when we were together, it was like the best of times.
Yeah, and I like what you said about him in general anyway, how he was trying to, tell you something and, school you on some things at the time. And at the time in your mind, you're like, nah, I don't need to hear that. I'm good. I'm over here doing my thing. No, it didn't come out. It didn't come out to other people that way, but you were, thinking that in your head, like you said. And it's kind of like, it reminds me of what people do, nowadays, how, you think back to what your parents might have told you when you were 8 years old. They tell you this, and you're like, yeah, I don't care about that. But you don't really understand it, and you don't get it until you are older. Like when they say you'll understand this when you get older, truthfully, you really don't understand it until you get older, and then you look back on those times like, wow, now I know what you were talking about.
Well, you was a smart 8-year-old, because I was going to go to say 24. They 24 be like that. So, my 8-year-old actually, he kind of act like he gets it. I think he actually gets it. It's the older one.
That's good. That's good to hear. And I know there are like probably tons and tons of memories, Tela, you could share. But what's one of the most memorable moments in your career, or something funny maybe that you can share with us?
Funny or memorable?
Either one, because I know there's probably, like I said, there's tons of things you could probably share.
Well, the most memorable, it has to be, it was a groupie episode. That's the most memorable.
Okay, tell us about that.
Well, it was just me with a bunch of women, and it was about 11 of them, and I'll never forget that moment in my life. So and we ain't gonna we got to go into the details.
No, we don't go into details.
When you say like, what would you? That got to be the most memorable moment in my career.
And you have pictures to prove it then too, huh?
No, good Lord, no. See, this was before smartphones.
Okay.
Yeah, this was before then. So
Well, we can let our imaginations go from there then.
Yeah, that was something. That was an amazing night that year, and I don't need to relive that. I don't need, that's a one time. That's a whole lot of, that's a whole lot of life energy right there.
A whole lot of life, a whole lot of celebration.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about some celebrations, because I know on Saturday, June 22nd, Atlanta is bringing back some of the memories with FreakNik. Tell us about that and what the lineup is like.
So my first FreakNik was 93.
Wow.
And this actually, that was my first time even leaving Memphis. You know, the first place I mean, of course, I've been to Nashville, things like that, but on my own as an adult, leaving was, coming to Atlanta, and it was FreakNik '93, and once again, and God is good, because that was a wonderful time. You know, it was. I had never seen anything, like with the HBCUs. You know, I of course I dropped out of high school, so I mean, to see when you talk about, black colleges and just the wealth of knowledge that this city had in young people that looked like me, so that was just in itself. I was like, wow, and then they partying like, for real rock stars, and it was love, It was one of those things in '93. This was before the police put up the barricades. Like the next year, '94, '95, they started putting up those barricades. But before then, we could go. I remember going. I'm talking literally walking into different houses. The front door is open, and you just sitting at the table, eating good, you smoking good, you doing all with people that you never met. They inviting you in their homes.
Wow.
It was that type of, and just being in Piedmont Park. I mean, I remember seeing, people around playing, tribal drums and just beautiful women like I've never seen before. Oh man, like I really felt like, now this is, if this ain't Africa, this is Africa. It felt like the motherland,
Right.
No, that's how I felt,
Yeah.
And so it was just, I remember it's just a beautiful thing. Of course, it was a lot of freaking going on and wildness and all that. But I was able to balance all of that. So I saw, and that will happen later on in the night. But early on in the day, it was a ton of culture, a ton of, I remember, people, speaking poetry. It was people out painting. All of these things was going on. So it was, and now here we come, with a collage of heavy bass music, Miami, bass music, so it was dope. So speeding up to this 2019 FreakNik, I'm going to put my piece in there. The lineup looks great. Like, my brothers are on there. Ballin, Jazze is on there. Who else? I saw, Luke is on there. Juvenile. You got Trina, you got the Brat, you got, it's so many. It's like 20 acts. 20 acts on there.
Wow. It's going to be a great show.
Yeah, it's going to be nice. So my piece is to bring that energy from '93 to that stage, and I'm thinking everybody pull in that frequency, we might just pull it off, to have that golden, that era, that moment again.
That's
everybody is, of course, in their mid-40s, late 40s, some even in their 50s. However, we're going to transcend the body and we're going to go into spirit mode.
That's
and
right.
be 21 out there again. We're going to be 20, So,
that's going to be a great celebration.
I like how they made it. It's a grown folk event. So
cool.
I'm looking forward to that. And that's June 26th.
Yeah, that's going to be a
great.
I'm
sorry.
June the 22nd in Atlanta. It's going to be a lit event. And so you have some other new projects going on this summer. Tell us a little bit about that and who's involved with that.
So we cooking on a new project. I'm gonna roll out a couple of them. So we're gonna roll out Peace of Mind, Reloaded. Really haven't came. It might be 2. It might be Reload. I'm still toying with that, but yeah. So I've re-recorded basically probably 80% of that album. And
Oh,
okay,
wow.
but you're like, man, don't mess up a classic. No, it sounds exactly the same. It's just brighter, it's tighter. It's just, and I'm kind of giving some backdrop on what was going on during the time these records were made.
Okay.
So that's something for the day one fans, and we're gonna roll that one out, and after that we're gonna roll out EP, and who's involved in this EP: Blac Elvis, Drumma Boy, Jazze, Cory Mo. So all the producers, Grammy or nominated producers, people that get me sonically,
Yeah.
and know what to do, So that's been dope too. The process and putting that together.
Yeah.
So we got both of those
good.
projects. Yeah, we got both of those projects rolling out, and the official date, it's got to stay close on officials on media platforms, social media.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. So what do you do? And I say that to mean when you're not working, we're not in the studio, you're not, putting something together. What does Tela like to do in his spare time?
I watch a lot of documentaries now. And this is not a religious thing. I do it religiously, but it's not religion. I find myself trying to press to get closer and closer, or more in tune with the divine. I mean, I do. I spend a lot of time with that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's just my.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, I love the finer things in life. On instance, luxurious, beautiful pieces, like from jewelry to art to homes, all of that. Car. I am highly attracted to that, but I find my completeness and my real joy just in my silence and trying to press to get higher. And I mean, and that's just being a little bit better each day on this planet, and
That's
working
right.
out
Yeah.
certain things, and really trying to connect all my dots in that magicalness of how to embody that, that completeness. So I spend time doing it, and that's me. Like, once again, reading about people who I admire that reach that sense of full peace.
Right.
That and a lot of times I see them, they be in their latter days, older or whatever. So studying those people.
Yeah, that's always good to do. Yeah,
and quiet. Sometimes just quiet and listening to it's great. It's just one of the things, and listening to tones, just in the right frequencies to help me to grow. I've been doing that a lot.
That is awesome. I like that you brought that up too, because in Renaissance, like those tones, there's a certain frequency that we're supposed to all be connected to. And what you were saying kind of reminded me of taking one of those journeys to Peru, and finding, when people go on those journeys to find themselves, sometimes they, do some of those psychotropic, medications to help bring them to that. But that is something that's really fascinating. When you talked about documentaries, I was watching one the other day just about that, where they were going out there. One actor went out there and did some work, came back a changed person. But people just don't understand, Tela, that when you're silent, that's when you have all your answers. When you're quiet, you got to break that noise down sometimes. So I like that you shared that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm ready. When you ready to take that trip, I was watching something like that too. I think, and I want to say it was on a ayahuasca. I think they was.
Yes, yes, yes. We must have watched the
Yeah,
same one. I just watched it, and
yeah.
it's that actor Michelle. She played in a whole bunch of different films. A Hispanic girl, like a badass. She went out there with somebody else, but they went up and they did the ayahuasca and some other things. And people just, need to understand, like with DMT and other types of psychotropic things that, they're banned in the United States for a reason, because a lot of times people and doctors don't want you to have that kind of power to open up your mind. They want you to rely on other types of drugs and things like that to mask your symptoms when really everything's done from within. And so those trips to Peru, I'm definitely going to be looking you up when I take that trip.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's somewhere I want to go.
And I know I'm at that place where how long I stay here, I guess time will tell that, but we just going to live in a moment, because my thing is like this. It ain't for a power thing. It's finally at a place like, no, this ain't about to possess a power to be dominant or control other or to gain. It's just more so to be, once again, like I said, at that full place to hopefully enlighten, and from getting full like that and being, to be able to give, to be that, representative. That spark of, this it's not a bad place at all. It's not, that to have that, to leave that residue wherever you leave, wherever you are. People are like, you know what, it ain't that bad. This is it's all right. It's going and it's good. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think that you're onto something with that, and actually people can learn a lot from what you just said. Being able to not be afraid to go within yourself to find answers and not be afraid of being in the quiet. Sometimes you just got to break things down and get out there, do all your partying and whatever people do. But at the end of the day, reflect. Take some time to actually reflect on where your life is going, where you've been, basically compared to where you're at, So speaking of that, what are some of the best advice or words of wisdom that you've received from anyone? Can you think of anything like that?
Best advice. Well, once again, I don't think no one, I'm sure people that gave it to me, but not direct, was, be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. And two, that just be true to self, and hopefully your truth doesn't cause harm to others.
Okay.
I really would say that, especially to a younger audience of people. Just be true to you, and don't be so, I know, because this whole social media thing and the whole just existence period is, this herd sense of being. It's powerful, and once again, I think that can lead people into having so many anxieties and just so stressed and weighed down. But if you be true to be true to you, and it can be a scary place. It can be very uncomfortable. But when you're uncomfortable, that's kind of where you want to be, because you're always you're alive, and you're stretching, and you're getting better. You don't want to get comfortable. That comfortability. I don't think it's you're going to celebrate, but I don't think it's really celebrating life. And two, not to say that being uncomfortable doesn't mean that you don't have peace.
True. Yes.
So, don't always run to that comfort spot to where like, oh no, Live out loud. Live out loud.
That's right. I love that, living out loud. And like you said, it's important that you said that because, a lot of people are living in fear of going after what they really want, not living authentically. And it's like in that fear is where you're going to find your empowerment, just going after what you really want without having to worry about what other people are saying. Don't worry about people's expectations. Do what you feel like you need to do for you. And you brought a very important message to that when it comes to people being afraid. Because sometimes in your fear, that's where you find your power. That's where you find your energy because what you're afraid of is always going to be there until you actually tackle it, right? Like, let's say you never got involved with music. You'd be looking back at your life at 60, 70, 80 years old like, wow, I should have done that. And you don't want to live with regrets. You want to at least know that you actually tried it.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah,
You're right. Got to.
So before I let you go, I have to ask you this question because my whole segment is called Moved by the Music. And, music all over the world has the ability to change people and move people in different ways that other things just can't. So you personally, how are you moved by the music?
Music, okay, I hope it don't offend anybody, but music to me is what we would call God.
Okay.
For me, for me. And I on in a big scheme of things, it's one of those things that God tends to be what you need to heal, to create abundance, to create love. That's music to me. That's what music is to me. I don't think I would be here if it wasn't for music. I don't think I would. I wouldn't have lasted long, especially if I, got a taste of what it was and it was taken away. It got me through, at a very young age where this is why I didn't need prescription drugs or, any music. Music was my medication, my healing, my hope, So
wow. I am so proud of that answer. I love that. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that in that way before, how you said that, without music, you probably wouldn't be here. The music was your medication. It's your source of inspiration or what you find you get energy from. That's amazing. So thank you for sharing that part.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and seriously, Southern rap royalty at its finest. Tela James, it has been incredible talking to you today. You have so many great things to look forward to, and I wish you nothing but continued success in all you're doing now and on into the future.
And the same goes right back to you. It's been an honor, and a pleasure, I must say, and I thank you. I really do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Make a star, place you in the car, ride you around the back of the limousine.